Hotline we go to find Coach Michael Malone on a Victory Monday morning. Coach, hope you're doing well. Hope you're feeling good here on a Monday. And we were just talking about it, Coach. The pride played with from your team and your coaching staff, man. And we talked about it a ton on Friday. You're down 3-0. We know what it means. But the Denver Nuggets showed no quit, and Witten survived to force a Game 5.
Yeah, as I said after the game, very, very proud of our group. I think a lot of teams, when you're down 3-0 and you're playing against a very talented Golden State Warriors team firing on all cylinders, maybe they don't want to go back to San Francisco and play a Game 5. Maybe they don't believe that there's any hope left. But that's not who I and our team have been the last 3 years, and it's not going to be who we are now. And I thought we showed the requisite fight in Game 3 and let that game slip away. And last night to have a great game, but to close the game out 7-0, to come from, we were down 2, I think, with about 1:20 to go, and to finish them out 7-0 to get that first win of the series felt great. And it shows everybody that we are not ready to roll over. We're going to keep on fighting, and that's what you have to do. When you're in the fight of your life, you can't be afraid to fight. And I thought our guys last night showed that.
Yeah, we were just talking about it, Coach, that really, when you think about it, you're 2 minutes away from going into Game 5 with the series tied at 2-2. You played well enough for Game 3 to have won that game. What message, does that give a message of confidence? And listen, this could be us win Game 5, go home and finish the series in Game 6. But what type of message do you send your team now getting ready to Game 5 to make sure there is a Game 6 back here Friday?
Yeah, I think one thing that, that goes into it, and one of my coaches said, hey, should we mention to the team before the game yesterday, that no team, there's 0 and 143 in terms of teams trying to come back down 3-0. And I said, no, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about winning the first quarter. We're going to talk about winning the second quarter. We're going to talk about winning Game 4. That's our whole focus. That was our focus in the bubble when we came back from 3-1. The way you eat an elephant is you take little bites one at a time. So our whole focus is just to win Game 5. And how are we going to do that is to play the way we played in 3 and 4. We were the aggressor. We were a lot more physical than we were in Games 1 and 2. They felt us.
Yep.
I mean, we forced them into 17 turnovers, and we scored 30 points off those turnovers. You were not doing that unless you were into somebody and making them uncomfortable. And the reality is this, and we know it, we're going into a very hostile environment. We have confidence that we've beaten them there before in the regular season twice this year. But as great as we played yesterday, we're going to have to find a way to play even better and more consistent and more disciplined for the entire 48 minutes or however long it takes to bring this series back to Denver.
Coach Michael Malone, our guest from the Denver Nuggets. And, Coach, I just want to congratulate you because, in my experience, great coaches understand their job is to reframe the moment. And instead of looking at the game, you go through like you did, let's win the first quarter. That helps players tremendously. It takes tremendous amount of pressure off. One of the many things you've done this season for your players. And speaking of one of your players, Monte Morris, to have the first half he did, finished with 24, but, Coach, to me, just being that bark that the Nuggets have needed the last 3 games. What did you love about Monte Morris's performance yesterday?
Well, as you mentioned, in the first half, he was playing solid basketball, and Bones had a great first half, and I even got Bones back in the last possession or 2 of the first half in place of Monte, But in talking with Monte after practice on Saturday, just having a chance to communicate, connect, get on the same page. How can I help you, Monte? I want you to settle down. I want you to play your game. When you're aggressive, when you're scoring and putting pressure on the defense, you're a different player. We're a different team. And as you mentioned, that third quarter, he goes out there, he goes 5 of 5 from the three-point line in one quarter. And that quarter was, we didn't play any defense, they didn't play any defense. And when they went for 37 points in that quarter, we needed to keep pace with them. And Monte allowed us to do that. And then the second part of what I loved about it, and I love Monte's quote after the game, he and Draymond have a great relationship, but the foul he took on Draymond just letting him know, hey, I'm here. Yeah, I'm not ducking. I'm not getting out of the way. I'm here. I'm going to take a physical foul, a good foul, a clean foul, and smile and flex. And you could see not only Monte's reaction, but all the guys on the bench, all of his teammates, how excited they got from seeing that. And, those are the types of plays that may not show up in a stat sheet, but those are plays that kind of unify a team, give them a collective fight, togetherness. And you need that when you're playing against a team that has three-time world champions, a two-time MVP, and a player in Jordan Poole who obviously going into Game 4 was probably the MVP of the series. And I felt that was another big part of the game last night. You can't let three guys keep getting 30 points a night. We took one guy out. We held Jordan Poole to 11 points. I thought Aaron Gordon's defense on him, I thought Austin Rivers' defense all night long was inspiring.
We are talking to head coach Michael Malone, and he's presented by the Central City Casino Parkway. You take the 4 lanes to fun. It's I-70 to exit 243. Coach, I got to ask you about another guy who we've talked about him with you before. We love him. The city certainly loves him. And shooting from 30 feet away is something he's fallen in love with. But Bones Highland hits 3 of those in that quarter and got the crowd fired up. Coach, how much trust, just not only in those long 30-foot shots, but just running the offense, man? He had a drive and a kick to the corner a couple of different times. How much trust has Bones earned from you down the stretch here?
Oh, well, what I think has to be stated here is that everybody's talking about the 3 30-foot bombs, which were back-to-back-to-back. Place went crazy, bedlam. He's dancing, he's flexing. We got all these little guys flexing. But what no one's talking about is that he had 15 points. He also had 7 assists and 4 rebounds. Like, Bones did a lot more than just make 30-foot bombs. I thought his ability to push pace, get into the paint, make his teammates better by making plays for them. 7 assists in one game in less than 20 minutes is incredible. And also to get 4 rebounds and fight and compete on defense. We're switching a lot of things, and he's getting matched up with bigger, stronger guys. But as long as he's bringing that fight, then he's going to be fine. So I felt Bones was instrumental in us getting that win last night. I felt our bench overall, I thought DeMarcus Cousins in 10 minutes gets you 10 points and 4 rebounds. So I think we have a lot of contributions. But Bones, for a rookie, so much is being asked of him, and he responded. He went out there and led that second unit. He's the heartbeat of that group. He pushes the pace and he makes plays, and hopefully we can see a very similar performance come Game 5 in San Francisco.
And Coach, just to add on to that, no one's talking about that drive he had one-on-one with Klay Thompson where he crossed Klay and that was at a big moment of the game. That was a big drive, and it shows you he can be more than just a three-point guy. And as you said, the 7 assists. I want to ask you this. Will was having a tough game. He's sitting at the end of the game. He's looking at 1 of 6 3 points in what could be a game where you guys eliminated. You know what the fans are doing and saying and what they're going to say after this one. And yet, at that start of the game where you haven't really shot the ball great, Nikola Jokic, who, and we've talked about this a while ago, makes the right play. But in making the right play, he's saying, hey, that's my teammate. I believe in him. I trust him. Gets it to Will, and Will hits probably the biggest shot of the game because it kind of just iced the game right there. What do you think about that moment and that confidence between two teammates?
I thought it was tremendous, and I was really proud of Will Barton because, as you mentioned, I took Will Barton out early in the third quarter to get Austin Rivers back in. Austin's he was our defensive player of the game. He was having a terrific impact on the game, and for a guy that's been here 8 years and Will Barton and things to not be going your way, but to find a way to stay present, to stay in the moment, to stay ready, I thought was tremendous. And I told him after the game how proud I was of him. And you're right. Monte finds Nikola in the pocket. And we know when Nikola short rolls, gets that ball in the pocket right around the free throw line, the nail area, something good is going to happen. He's going to score his floater. He's going to get a lob dunk to Aaron Gordon or Jeff Green working behind the defense, or we're always trying to generate corner threes. And Nikola makes the right read, to your point, Scott. He finds Will Barton wide open. and that three-point shot puts us up 5 points and helps us seal the game, part of that 7-0 run to close. So you may not have made a play in 47 minutes, but in that last minute, just by staying mentally, spiritually, emotionally engaged, that's going to allow you to make a big shot like that. If Will had checked out, if he had given up, if he had felt sorry for himself, maybe he doesn't make that shot. And you don't want never be a victim, be a victor. And that's what Will Barton was yesterday, and I was proud of him for doing that. And that's what Nikola does. We know that, but big shot by Will Barton, and hopefully we can take that and ride that into game number 5 out in the Bay.
Well, excuse me, can we talk about the man who's leading the playoffs in scoring, top 5 in rebounds, Nikola Jokic? Coach, what's he doing differently that maybe we're not seeing this playoff series?
Well, it's fun. I just got to start off with this. I just laugh at all these people that somehow find a way to criticize Nikola Jokic. And they say he's an analytical MVP. They say he's this, he's that. I just don't know what you're looking at. I mean, somebody help these people out, show them the truth. What he's done last 3-4 years has just been unheard of. And what he's doing is being the MVP. And MVPs rise to the occasion time and time again. They put their team on their back. Nikola, I felt, was very, very aggressive. When Nikola is playing aggressive, good things are going to happen. And he's impacting the game like he always does in so many ways. Aside from the on-court, aside from the stats, the points, the rebounds, the assists, I think Nikola's leadership, and there's a lot of different ways to lead, and everybody wants to be that vocal guy that's always, smacking his gums. Well, that's not Nikola. Nikola leads just by his presence, his example. And when you're down 3-0 and the best player in the NBA is calm, cool, and collected, that's going to trickle down to a Bones Highland. That's going to trickle down to some of our other players who have maybe not been here as much. So I love Nikola's leadership. I love how calm he is. He never gets too high. He never gets too low. We stay the course. And that's what is probably, I think, most valuable about Nikola right now with the situation that we're in.
Coach, last one I got for you, and we're always grateful for your time. We saw Golden State make that run, and they were isolating Nikola. They wanted to get the matchup between him and Steph. How much of a conversation do you have maybe with your coaching staff and then bringing it to the team? Don't automatically switch. Fight through that screen so that you dictate the defensive matchup that you want.
Yeah, they asked me that after the game, and trust me when I tell you, the game plan was not to switch Nikola onto Steph Curry and leave him on an island. But I tell you what, when it did happen, and there's going to be breakdowns. Like I tell our players all the time, I do not expect us to play perfect. I'm not going to coach a perfect game. You're not going to play a perfect game. It's a game of mistakes. Who can make fewer mistakes usually wins. So there was a blown coverage there. So Nikola gets stuck on him. But what Nikola did a great job of the one time, and we've talked about this with our bigs, if you do get in that situation, you have to press up and make Steph Curry a driver. We cannot sit back and let him shoot a pull-up three. So he makes him a driver. Aaron Gordon tries to take a charge, and there's a big N1. So we'll continue to work and clean up. I think as each of our games have gone on, we've gotten better and better and more disciplined with the game plan. And, that's a big part of it. You're playing against a team that does not need any help. They take advantage of every mistake you make, whether it's a turnover, a blown coverage, whatever it is, and that's where discipline, one possession at a time, comes into play, and we're going to have to be at our best come Game 5.
And we talked all around. Excuse me.
Oh,
we talked all around it.
Are we okay?
I would say something, but it might be misconstrued. But I may have had a nut in my mouth that went down the wrong pipe. But I'll leave it at that.
Hey,
peanuts.
I
Peanuts
can proudly say I've never had to say that.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Hey. Anyway. Listen, I told Cos last time we had Austin on the show. Austin Rivera said, I guarantee you in the thousands of interviews he's done, he's probably never had a guy on there who was 1 of 4 shooting, had 3 points, as the post-game star of the game type thing. But as you've mentioned it 2 or 3 times, the way he played defensive just what he did defensively. I think he ended up with 5 steals, big one at the end of the game. Steph Curry, people go, yeah, great defense. Steph Curry had 34. There's a difference, man. When you got to work, and I thought, and that goes back to feeling. You made Steph work harder that game than he's worked in previous games. And yeah, he still got 32, 34, but he worked, and I think that's because of Austin Rivers. I've never seen a guy not score much but be as impactful as he was in that game. Well,
I tell you what, I think it's an outstanding point because you're right. When you look, those people looking at the stat sheet this morning, Austin was 1 of 5 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. He had 3 points, 3 assists. But he had, as you mentioned, 5 steals. But when you look at Steph Curry's stat line, he was 10 of 23 from the field. He was 3-11 from the three-point line. So it was not an efficient 33 points for Steph Curry. He got to the foul line 14 times and luckily missed 4 of those, which you never see from Steph Curry. Him missing 4 free throws in one game is something like Halley's Comet. But you can impact the game different ways, and Austin's defense being into guys, being physical, having active hands, and obviously one of the bigger defensive plays on their side out-of-bounds play when they're trying to get Andrew Wiggins on the lob for a quick 2, Austin breaks that up and comes up with one of his 5 steals. So I couldn't agree more, Scott. Our guys understand that, hey, Nikola's going to score. Aaron Gordon, I felt game 3 and 4 was outstanding. 21 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks. And we haven't even talked about AG. But Austin's defense, and that's why he won Defensive Player of the Game for us. Once again, I think that's the 4th time he's won it against Golden State this season, regular season and playoffs. So Austin was tremendous and a big, big part of our win.
Coach, lastly, for me, you said it in the post game. Coach me, Coach. I'm a father of a daughter too. When the prom date came, were you accidentally oiling your shotguns? Was it Bad Boys Martin Lawrence moment? Coach me on that moment, Coach. How do we as fathers of daughters handle that prom moment?
You got to read the room. And I've met this young man a few times, and he's a really nice kid, really nice family. So the first time I met him, when they started dating, I made sure I whispered in his ear, a couple of choice words, put the fear of God in them. And then at the prom, they were taking pictures, and unfortunately for all the proms around, there happened to be like 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts that day, so all the girls were trying to hold on to their hair and keep their skirts down. But I gave him a hug, and I said, listen, man, just make sure you keep your hands off my daughter. We have no problems. And,
all right.
My daughter came home safe in one piece that night, and I was a happy father.
Hey, because you know what? Growing up in Kansas, it get windy in that car, too.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Scott, you just worry about that nut in your mouth. You got to figure that one out, all right?
Hey, Coach, I swallowed it.
Hey, 100 points, Coach Malone.
Coach has
there.
already won the day.
100 points, Coach Malone. Hey, congratulations, Coach. Keep
We
having fun.
appreciate you, Coach.
Hey, I just want to say one more thing. I know I said it after the game 3, after game 4, but huge shout out to all of our fans in Ball Arena, man, because I was worried coming home. Golden State Warrior fans always invade Ball Arena. They used to invade Pepsi. And I felt game 3 and 4, man, our fans were outstanding, and they were a big part of us being in game 3 and having a chance, and a big part of us winning last night. The energy in that place was off the charts. So thank you to all of our fans. And as I mentioned after the game, we're going to need even more energy when we come back and play game 6.
Yes, sir. Back for game 6.
See you game 6.
Coach, great stuff. Safe travels. Best of luck on Wednesday night, and we appreciate you as always.
I appreciate you guys as well, man. Take care and be